Kat and I will have this under control.
Actually, I will just go live now. So hi everyone, welcome to my Personal Finances PodCat, episode 48. Today I'm going to have a chat with Wong Wai Ken, who is the StashAway Malaysia's country manager, as this digital wealth manager assets under management just surpassed $1 billion, which is 4 billion ringgit in less than 4 years. So StashAway is in Singapore in 2017, in Malaysia 2018, and Middle East and North Africa in 2020. So join us when we find out why it's important for StashAway to have hit this $1 billion milestone, especially for investors in this robo advisory, and also how the StashAway work with financial planners and wealth advisors, and also the near midterm strategic roadmap for StashAway. Also, we have a lot of Q&A from the beloved community. So without further ado, let's begin. Hi, Wai Ken. Welcome to the show.
Hi, Kat. Nice to meet you.
Good to have you on the show. All right. So I'm sure some would have already known you, but for the benefit of our audience, could you please briefly introduce yourself?
Sure, Kat. Thanks for having me. My name is Ken. I'm the country manager of StashAway. StashAway, to those who are new, we're a digital fund manager or a robo advisor, and we are Securities Commission licensed. We've been around for 2018. I myself have spent around 12 years in the investment industry space. I started with Khazanah in their investments division, and then I moved on to Affin Hwang to become an investment banker. And then 2 years ago, I helped start up StashAway in Malaysia, and MyPF and Steve were all there for us and with us since day one.
Right. Thanks for the introduction. So we also have something new, like in order for our audience to get to know you a bit more. So we have these 5 quick fire questions. Yeah.
Okay.
So yep, it's it's less formal. It's just to know you a bit better. So the first one is So what motivates you in life and work?
Life and work. I think as Malaysians we are motivated by achievement, right? Like when we're young, it's all those straight A's and then get into a good school and then get into a good job. And then since I joined StashAway, my motivation was actually to have fun doing the work I do and to enjoy the people around me, because I feel like drive alone is a very individual thing, whereas having fun is more inclusive, I feel. And I think my mindset really shifted once I got here. And that is because of a few things coming together. I also got married like 2 years 2 years ago. So everything kind of just came together. So I became a happier person, and then the job was fun. It was exciting. So I think that shows, right? And my role here, while it is challenging, I just really want to have fun all along the way. There's no one destination I reach and I'll be like, okay, now I can be happy. I'm just happy all throughout.
Or the other word is more like live in the moment, and
Yeah,
more so
be more
for you.
present. Yeah.
Yep, more so when your work and also your marriage comes at the same time, right?
Yeah, it's all very circumstantial, but yeah, it does explain why I'm in a good mood most times.
Interesting. All right. So next is how do you save and invest?
Me, so I have 2 main goals. So my first goal is to reduce my debt as much as possible, and then the second thing is to increase my net worth through my investment portfolio. And my investment portfolio is actually very, very simple. It is a lot of it is StashAway. Some of it is my unit trust from Legacy. I use them from before. I have a small stock portfolio when I was a student studying in Australia. So I still hold on to that there. And then I've also dabbled in a little bit of P2P lending and crypto, but those two only make up like 2 to 3% of my investment portfolio because I do it out of professional curiosity because they exist in the fintech space. And I also think that there are decent platforms out there, so I want to try. So those are more for testing, but can't say that I haven't been learning, and can't say that I'm not happy with the returns.
Interesting. So, yeah, it does look like you have a fully diversified portfolio there.
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up. So, what is your favorite quote?
Quote.
Mm-hmm.
Quote. Wow. I don't know why, but
There must be one that
I
you
don't
always have in
really,
mind.
I don't really live by quotes, but I do like to quote this to some people sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
It is because I watch too many Hollywood movies. There's one in the first Transformers. I know not super deep, not Shawshank Redemption or Citizen Kane, but like
Doesn't
the
have it yet.
first Transformers was really good, lah. I thought. So in the first Transformers, Optimus Prime said something. Fate doesn't come to us at a time of our choosing. Yeah. So he's asking Sam to be a hero, and fate doesn't choose the time to when to pick you, right? So I like to use the quote sometimes jokingly when I speak to people and they're like, let's say making a career transition, or let's say they are like very reluctant to do something, but I know it's the good thing for them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I say in the Optimus Prime voice, fate doesn't always choose you, at the time of your choice, right? So then they laugh and then they move on, right? So yeah, I don't really use a lot of cliche quotes, lah, but yeah, that's it.
That sounds like a good one. All right. So we're done with 4 questions. Now this question is the last one. Is not even by myself, not even by Steve. It's randomly generated.
Oh
So
gosh.
yep, it's a combination that we generate randomly out of 20,000 combination. So let's
Okay.
take it out. Yeah, I'll read out the question for you. So the question for you is, your sports team mascot will be centaur or iguana?
Santa or iguana? My God. For me personally,
Yeah.
Aiyo.
But what's your favorite sport anyway?
No, I personally I'm decent at like badminton and like running and stuff. But I'm a Liverpool fan. I like football. So I guess I'm just gonna go with. I will take the iguana, but only because if exposed to radioactivity, it becomes Godzilla, and I think Godzilla is more exciting than Santa Claus. So yes, I will take Godzilla. Also, the
Okay.
movie is coming out, right? King Kong and Godzilla. So
Godzilla. Okay, all
I guess
right.
I'm Godzilla.
Yeah, don't blame me if you get any blasting from Liverpool fans. Yeah.
Yeah, Liverpool fan. You mean non-Liverpool fans?
Oh, okay. All right. So we're done with yeah. I'm really starting to like this, quick fire questions now. No, I
Yeah,
believe
it's
like
all
all our
completely random.
audience.
I never see all these people.
Yeah, they are meant to be random, and then it's for our audience to know you a bit more about outside of work and your personal life. Yep, glad
For
that you
what it's
shared
worth.
that with us. All right, so let's get to the serious part now. So let's head straight to um the few key points. So
Yep.
congratulations again to StashAway for surpassing $1 billion assets under management,
Yes.
and this is all done within 4 years, right?
3.5
So what
years,
is
right?
it? Yeah. So what is it important and relevant for investors that StashAway has reached $1 billion AUM?
Yeah. So there's many aspects to this, right? Like first, I think from a company perspective, it's always nice to meet a big milestone that proves your business model and your product is awesome, and that you have really put something out there that people are really taking to in a big way. When we launched the company 3.5 years ago, it was a proof of concept. And then when you get the first 1,000 customers, then you know that, okay, early adopters like it. And then when you reach the first 10,000 customers and a certain AUM milestone, then you go, okay, we have product market fit. Now it's about scaling. So then we went into Malaysia, and then 2 months ago into Dubai, and we want to replicate this in other countries as well. So the product and market strategy was executed very well. But the question is, how does this benefit customers, right? Why is this important to investors? And to me, that question is, it can go both ways. It can be very important, or it can be not important at all, and there's no wrong answer. Because in the early days when we launched, our brand, StashAway, didn't have a lot of recognition. So people wanted to know the business performance, right? Like how well are you doing? So the very common way that asset management firms are assessed is like how many customers you have, or if you're a tech firm, and then if you're a fund manager, traditionally they ask how big are you, what's your assets under management. So in the early days, for whatever purpose, we kept it under wraps. We didn't share this, so we decided to share it once we reached this huge milestone. So that means that investors who care about the legitimacy of the platform can now be assured, because we have passed this milestone. We have a lot of money from a lot of customers, and you can trust us with your money the same way regulators and all these early adopters have. So on one hand, that's important. Why it's not so important to me is I come from the industry. Yeah, I come from banking. I come from big institutions. Big institutions market in a very specific way. They don't really market direct to the retail customer, because they market to like other big businesses, other corporations. So the way they like to talk about it is business metrics. So they say 70B under management ringgit, or 50B ringgit under management, right? So a lot of people ask us, and sometimes when we don't say, I didn't think it was important in the early days, because as long as we give you a good service, give you good returns, you're happy with the product, then our overall asset under management shouldn't really be a concern to you. What you should be concerned is how much money you choose to trust to put with us. So yeah, I mean, very long-winded, very philosophical, but like it matters and it doesn't matter depending on who you are. And to us as a company, obviously, we're very happy about it, but we want to also have the mindset that we are just starting. There's so much wealth in this region, and we want to keep plowing on, keep delivering the good service that we've been providing, keep up with those amazing returns, and keep customers invested for the long term, so that when we are at 10 billion, 100 billion, we'll still be pushing as hard as we were from day one.
Yeah, that's a very good sharing. Yeah, I believe it does. For some investor, it will definitely work as confidence for them. Knowing that like having this AUM, they are just one small part out of the $1 billion AUM, right? So next up, so what is the best way for financial planners and wealth advisors to actually work with StashAway's digital wealth management for a good long-term real relationship between StashAway advisor and also clients?
So I believe that financial advisors are important to the ecosystem in Malaysia. I also believe that there are not enough good financial planners out there, especially the ones that charge based on just a rep fee and don't take income from product providers who give them the best commissions and kickbacks. So I think the industry is slowly moving into that direction, like a lot of advanced countries like the US and also Australia. But I think that's why it's important that financial planners are open-minded. There's not one silver bullet for all their clients, right? Each clients are different in a certain way, and each client will need a certain mix of products so that they can actually meet their unique financial needs. So I would say the best way that StashAway can work with financial planners is as a ways of introduction, right? So it's a ways of introduction maybe for clients who don't yet have the net worth to really go full-time or work on retainer with a financial planner. They can just start saving while they're relatively young, in their early 20s or early 30s. And then when they have enough net worth, then they can really call you and call Steve and say, hey, I have 3 million net assets. I need some more sophisticated guidance. My Excel sheet can only do so much, so I need your help, right? So I think just spreading the word and letting people know that this is a safe and good platform for you to start investing as opposed to certain unit trusts, which can be quite expensive, I think is already a very good way. I think commercially, there is also a chance that financial planners can work with us, but I would say that we are client first, right? And because of that, we cut out a lot of fees that normally the industry shares with intermediaries like agents. So when we work with financial planners, honestly, there's not a lot of fees to go around because we only charge 0.8% to the end client. So there's not much to share. But at a certain point, at a certain scale, it might make sense, right? So never say never. And I think that might be something that we do in the future.
Right. Great. So next one. So what is in the 1 to 3 years strategic roadmap for StashAway, both globally and also specifically in Malaysia itself?
So let me tell some grandfather stories about Malaysia first. I think when we first started, we launched a core portfolio, and you have this slide up here which shows our performance over those few years. And this is annualized, by the way, so it's not cumulative. It's annualized. So we launched with the global portfolios, and then we actually introduced our cash management product, which is meant for your safety net, your idle cash. You don't want to take a lot of risk. That's where StashAway Simple comes in. We offer 2.4% per annum, and that's for your safety net, right? Where you have 6 to 12 months for your rainy day. So we launched that, and it has actually launched quite successfully. It's up and running for around 7 months now. It makes up around 30% of our assets under management, and a lot of people use it first, and then they transition to our global portfolios. And people who already use the global portfolio increase their share of their funds with us because they have other needs for these funds, right? For this cash that's lying around. So now that we are here, we really want to push in Malaysia to have these two products, I guess, to extend it to more people around Malaysia, right? Now that we have a decent business size, we really want to grow by 5x, 10x, right? We don't really think that introducing a new product every month is the right strategy because the core products already do so much. They are already multi-asset. They are already risk adjusted. So you want to go high risk, low risk, and they're all very diversified already. You just have to choose. I think introducing new products with different themes and flavors is good until a certain extent, right? If you want to go China opportunity and then Vietnam opportunity and then India funds and then tech funds, it's very gimmicky, and I think you are basically leading with product marketing rather than what's the need of the customer. So you won't see us launching 100 products in the next 2 years, okay? But we do want to make the service better. So we do want to increase the speed of receiving deposits. We want to increase the withdrawal times as well. We take a lot of feedback from customers. We send them quick NPS surveys that they can fill out. We take calls from them, from our customer experience team. A lot of them say, yeah, we want better FPX and things like that. So we've heard you. It's just a matter of time. I cannot say that once we want to do something, we can launch it tomorrow, right? We're a company, there are resources to consider. So, bertenang, sabar kejap, we will get to it because we are focused on other countries launching as well. So onwards globally, 2.5 months ago, we got licensed by the DIFC, that's the Dubai International Financial Center, and with that we launched Dubai, right? So that has been going on for about 2 months, very, very promising, very different market to Malaysia, I would say. They are more expat driven. You have a lot of people in financial services, shipping, oil and gas, and those expats have slightly different needs. We have learned from expats in Singapore, and we want to also target that segment in Dubai. It's a very, very different country to Malaysia for a variety of reasons. And then we are also very keen to launch Hong Kong and Thailand soon in that order. And I guess we should launch these two countries by this year.
Very interesting. All right. For anyone who has just started watching and just joined us, welcome. And today we have Wong Wai Ken, who is the country manager of StashAway Malaysia, with us today. And for now, we're gonna talk about some of the questions that is voiced out from our beloved community. So the first one being, what are some of the new features or services that StashAway plans to introduce by Dylan?
So I talked a little bit about that earlier, right? So we already have a direct debit service, which allows people to essentially dollar cost average and deposit money every month or every quarter. So we already have that. And by the way, that service is also free, right? So we don't charge you transaction charges and things like that. These are small things that people sometimes take for granted because we already absorb the cost. But these are very real life issues that we have to deal with because these things don't come for free. And while we do want to make things PLC, right, Peng Lang Chang, we really need to have good business sense as well, because at the end of the day, fees is only 0.8%, so we need to really make choices that way. I did say earlier we want to make withdrawals faster and also deposits faster, so we are looking into that. I won't commit to a timeline, but sometime this year would be a reasonable assumption. But other than that, I would just say for the normal user, while we don't launch new products every month or every quarter, the existing products are already very good for a lot of your needs, for your core needs. So keep investing as you get your monthly salary. Whenever you get a windfall, think about us. And I think along the way, we will see very interesting market developments. So we also provide a lot of market commentary on YouTube, in the app, on our website. So the journey of investing isn't about trying like 100 new products. The journey of investing is understanding more about you, building up towards your investment goals, and being in control all along the way, which is why knowledge is important, which is why we put out a lot of content. Yeah, we also launched a podcast very recently. We have had very exciting guests, and that is meant for you to look at your wider personal finance situation. So we have talks there relating to insurance, why you shouldn't pick ILPs, for example, why those things can be very expensive. We also have investment experts from like BlackRock and all that talking about gold and different asset classes. You can hear from our CIO, Freddie Lim. So while we are not launching products like thick and fast, I think content is also very important and communication is very important. And you can see that's what we do very frequently.
Yep. Yeah, I totally agree that financial education is really the key. Like before you actually start investing in something, more importantly is you really pick the knowledge and start learning. Right. The next question that we have is by Jack Runner. So will StashAway add ARK ETFs into the portfolios?
Your name sounds like a secret agent or like a superhero, a part-time superhero. I'm Jag Runner. It's like, wow, that's a power name, man. So Jag, will StashAway add ARK? Actually, ARK is a very interesting ETF, right? And we've come a long way since all those strictly passive ETFs out there, and it's actually done very well because I would say that it captures future themes, right? It focuses on innovation. And they do a very good job communicating and explaining why they are into the sectors that they are in, which are, biotech, Bitcoin, ride-hailing, all kinds of futures, life sciences, and things like that. Very exciting. And I think Kathy Wood is one of those very exciting fund managers because she's so brainy. So she sets herself apart from a lot of stodgy financial fund managers. To answer your question, we are monitoring it now. The reason why we are not including it into our universe as of yet is because when we build portfolios, what we are targeting is sectors or geographies or asset classes. So that's why you see so many sectors within the equities side. You see so many geographies. You also see different bonds in there as well. And ARK is actually actively managed and rather concentrated. So while I say it's a decent ETF, it may not exactly fit our strategy. So we are trying to let it run a little bit, let the track record speak for itself, so that we might find a way to include it some way, shape, or form. To include it just because it is fashionable is not how we do things, right? 1 year ago, I haven't heard about ARC from our viewers and from our clients, because they were not as global. They were starting off, right? And the last thing we want to do is just include it, and then if their style drift because they're active fund manager, then we will be caught with a constituent in our portfolio that is not as clean, as clear cut as all the other passive ETFs that we've already included. So long story short, Mr. Runner, is we will see when is the right time and how we will include it in the future. But we do like it. It's just that we need to stick to our philosophy as well. It's not just about picking what is fashionable. Yeah. If I can just sidetrack a little bit, last year everyone was saying, and financial. Are you going to include it in your portfolio? And financial. And of course, I'm saying this as a tale of caution, right? A cautionary tale, because obviously it was pulled, it was not listed, and ultimately Alibaba, the market price also went down 20% because of all those new red tape from the Chinese government. So while it's all well and good to just, let's go into the hottest thing today, you need to think about the wider ramifications, look to the future, and not just jump on every single shiny thing that comes your way. Otherwise, you will be like that dog from Up, like squirrel, squirrel. And then honestly, investors are like that. Bitcoin,
Yeah, I know.
Tesla.
All these market noises, right? Totally agree that.
GameStop, like Hertz, Top Glove. Yep. Then you're like, whoa, okay, if you want to go play Whack-A-Mole, go play Whack-A-Mole, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. Thanks for sharing your thoughts about ARCA ETFs with us. Yeah, really appreciate that. But I totally agree that it is it's hot in the market. Everyone is talking about it. But we appreciate that plannings are put into place for this, and then it is for the long term, and it's not just chasing the hot trends, right? Just also for clarification, the Catherine that Wai Ken talk about is not me, Catherine. Is the Cathy Wood that the CEO of ARC.
Okay. Yeah.
Next question. So what if Reddy makes a mistake in algorithms and is relying on the technical expertise of one person too risky? This is from Andrew.
Hi, Andrew. Thanks for your question. So I guess that relates to key person risk, right? The way that the algorithm is actually structured is we have a framework and we take in data, and then what this data will tell us and how it fits in the framework will determine what the asset allocation is. So I will say that the odds of actually making a mistake is actually not so high. The odds of it is actually not high, because we only make strategic, i.e. long-term decisions when it comes to changing the asset allocation. Mistakes or not mistakes, in the short term, you can tell very quickly. I want to buy this stock. If it tanks, I know it's a mistake. But because we look at the long term, and we only change the asset allocation once every year and a half on average, we've only changed it 3 times in the last 4.5 years. It is something that we do at a helicopter view. We don't make tactical mistakes. So getting it right at the macro level is more important to us. So I guess if, let's say, you want to assume that maybe he could make a mistake as well because he is one man, there is also an investment committee that decides on any changes to the algorithms. So let's say Freddie wakes up having a nightmare, he fought with his wife, and then he's very bad mood, and then he go to office, and then he look at something making losses, he's not happy, then he want to change the algorithm, then you just tweak and tighten the screws a little bit. That's not how it works, right? We have an investment committee. He must say show all the data to show why he would make a fundamental change to the framework. Okay, and then if everyone agrees, then only we do it, right? So it's not like we change it every day. And so far, since we've launched, we haven't changed the algorithm, and so far so good, right? We also done extensive back testing. So first and foremost, the framework is sound because it relies on macro data, which is based on economic fundamentals, and we operate on a strategic level, meaning it's not likely that we make short-term tactical errors because we invest for long term, and that's how we express our asset allocation. And then secondly, he's not alone. He's really part of an investment committee, although he is the voice of the investment committee. He is the most technically experienced. He has to convince himself with data and us with data before putting in any changes.
All right. I hope that answers your question, Andrew. So next question. So will StashAway venture into leverage and inverse ETFs or other actively managed ETFs such as Smart Beta, Momentum, and this is by Ken Lim?
I can think. So the short answer is no, and I'll tell you why. So firstly, again, it comes back to building portfolios that target a specific risk level. If you have exotic ETFs that are meant for trading or meant for hedging, then you can't really build a portfolio that is geared for the long term, because then you need to change the ETFs as you change your strategy as you go along. So that's not what we really do. And also these leverage or smart beta ETFs or momentum ETFs do come with much higher fees, because obviously there is some cost to structuring these ETFs. They tend to be very high cost. So I think to build our portfolios right, we want to keep the cost down as low as possible, so that ultimately the expense ratio that our customers pay, investors pay, that you pay, is kept to a minimum. So right now, if you look at Bursa, you will see that the fees of the ETFs usually around 0.6% to 0.8%. That's quite expensive relative to all the ETFs that we pick in the US that are very, very cheap, and then blended together is only 0.2%. So every percent you pay in fees comes out of your gross return. So because of the complexity to build a portfolio, because of the fees, and you know, those are reasons why we don't include all these exotic ETFs. Not saying they're not good for specific investors. If you're a day trader, I think there are better better instruments for you to choose than ETFs. If you are directionally thinking into shorting a certain market, let's say Malaysia, you know, you can obviously do that. But I would say it's more important for you to find ideas that go up instead of go down. And it's a very simple thing, you know. If it's 2 ringgit, you can go down to 0. That's it. Your gains is limited to that. But if it's 2, you can go to 4, can go to 10, can go to 20. So if you really want to pick a single stock, really want to pick an ETF or something, I wouldn't really go with shorting or inverse ETFs either. Leverage, unless you're a day trader, you have a lot of money, you want excitement in your life, yeah, go ahead, do it. But yeah, 3x, 5x on the way down is really no joke. You can get wiped out like that, right? So I would only advise it for very, very seasoned people. But for investors who want to do it, if they are new, maybe try with a little bit of money and do a lot of research first before you start.
Good advice. So for anyone who just started watching and just started joining us, we are here talking to Wai Ken, who is from StashAway, the country manager of Malaysia of StashAway, who has just hit $1 billion of their AUM. So the next question that we have is, what are the pros and cons of the US dollar British pound portfolio in terms of performance, fees charged by the ETF providers, and also tax treatment on dividends? And add on to that, can investors actually opt for either, or is actually, you know, decided by StashAway?
Yeah, so we have 2 sets of portfolios. One is listed in the US, which is the main one. Another set for Malaysia only is GBP. And there's no reason that they are different at all. The only reason why we do it is because in Malaysia, there's a very peculiar piece of currency control by Bank Negara. And currency control by Bank Negara means that you can only invest in a certain way if you have a home loan and, let's say, 2 car loans. If you have 2 home loans and 1 car loan, you'll be deemed to have domestic ringgit borrowings. It's a regulatory term, domestic ringgit borrowings. So if you have domestic ringgit borrowings, it means that you cannot. There are limitations for you to invest abroad. Okay, and we invest people's money overseas, i.e., abroad. So the way we go about complying with these regulations is that we structure it according to the rules, which is basically to blend in 50% Sharia compliant ETFs and 50% conventional. And in the US, there are no Sharia portfolios, Sharia ETFs. In the UK, there are few. So that's why we go to UK. But the way they are constructed, first we target risk, and then the second thing is we target diversification. Certain asset classes should get certain weightage. It's all the same. The fees are the same. The cost of us managing your funds is exactly the same. The cost of the foreign exchange, which you get charged 0.1%, is also the same. So there's no investment reason why you should want to choose one over the other. It's just that we want to grow in Malaysia, and to grow in Malaysia, we need to be widely available to any kind of investor, whether they have 5 home loans, 0 home loans, 5 cars, no cars. We need to be able to cater to everyone. So we introduce 2 sets of portfolios, and depending on how you answer our onboarding questions, we will stream you into one of 2. If you want to change, we really must affirm with you first that your liabilities have really changed. Your home loan, maybe last time you got 3 home loan, then suddenly maybe you don't have. Then you want to change, you can change. Otherwise, just stay where you are, and they're both doing the same in terms of investment performance.
Is a change of profile only by asking about their liabilities, or are there any further information they need to update in order to?
Yeah, that's it. It's just their liabilities. So it's a very technical thing, and the underlying fundamental portfolios are the same. Risk reward is the same. Constituents also broadly the same. So yeah, it's all about just complying with the currency controls. Very, very boring technical answer, but since it was asked, I answer lah.
All right, thanks for the sharing. Definitely. All right, for anyone, if you have any questions that you want to ask Wai Ken, now is the best time. You can just drop it at the comment. I'll pick it up one by one after this. So next up, the question that we have is when can StashAway use EPF and PRS to invest?
This is my good friend, Sponsor Al, who was there since day one. He was one of our very, very early customers, and I see him at all the conferences. Obviously, I haven't seen him in a long time, like I haven't seen all of you. But that is something we're building towards. Again, it has to relate to regulations. The current PRS and EPF schemes are written for unit trusts, and we are working with the regulators to qualify for them, and hopefully we can introduce something in early next year or mid next year. I don't have a fixed timeline because these all rely on third parties, right? The regulators to change the guidelines, and then for us to actually file. But I think it's encouraging that there's a trend towards liberalizing these schemes. There really is. So we're being involved in some of those conversations, and hopefully we'll bring it to you in around 2022.
Yep. Thanks for the roadmap and the heads up. It looks like you have some support here from Freddie.
Yes, it's nice to see my boss dialing in. But yeah. Now I have to watch what I say.
No, I'm pretty sure he's just here to give you support and also stand in for StashAway. Right. Let's see if you have any more questions. Right. So I believe these are all the questions. So all right, here it comes the final part, which is
more random. What is this?
So let me show that again.
do I do?
So, what is the one big audacious habit or goal that you want our audience to actually take action right now? You've shared your advisors, you
Well,
shared your thoughts.
it is technically still January, so I will say to people, I think inspiration is the first step, right? I think it's very easy to get inspired these days. You attend a talk, you watch a seminar or webinar or something like that, and then you get like all fired up, right? But before you get sidetracked or you procrastinate, doing is more important sometimes than just thinking about it. So don't procrastinate. Put your financial affairs in order. What is the one thing you can do? I will say, do your figure out what your net worth is, and figure out what your asset allocation is. Right? All you need is Excel for that, or you talk to your friendly financial planner. Once you know your net worth, once you know your asset allocation, decide for yourself, what am I going to do this year to improve my position? Am I taking too little risk? Am I taking too much risk? What should I do? So just find out where you stand and actually do something, right? Put your plan to work. Don't just like, oh, I attended something, I learned something, but you don't do anything about it, right? So yeah, go ahead, do something, put yourself on track to reaching financial independence.
All right. Now that you mentioned to talk to someone, we also have this exclusive promo from that's the collaboration between StashAway and also MyPF. So
yeah, because MyPF has been working with us as content collaborators with us since day one, we actually have a very special code for Malaysian audiences. You can scan that one on the left-hand side, and if you are a new customer, you get to enjoy 100% of our management fees for 6 months. And if you are dialing in from Singapore, you can scan the one on the right and then enjoy 50% off for 6 months. And hopefully all of us get to use StashAway and to enjoy the platform as much as possible. And for those of you who are in Singapore, I look forward to you receiving your vaccines. And then they open the borders and we can see each other very soon.
all right. Thank you so much for sharing your time with us and sharing all this insightful information with us today. Thanks for having you.
Absolutely. Thanks, Kat. Thanks, Steve. And hopefully see you guys real soon. Stay safe.
All right. Thank you.
Wow. Oh my.
All right.
Full of
So
surprises.
yeah, give me a minute. Okay, thank you everyone for watching. I hope you really enjoyed learning from Wai Ken. So as usual, like I believe like he shared very like insightful information and advice. And one thing really to take away from this is like, we get so inspired so easily by all the content out there, but it's about taking action, like if you have learned about it, if you're interested with it, start taking action to, take charge of your financial affairs now. Right. So as usual, thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe and share. And you can find our show notes and link on our website, mypf.my/podcat, and I'll see you in the next episode. Thank you for watching. Hasta pronto.